The final module is our opportunity to bring this chapter of your personal spiritual development and growth to an end and open up what the next stage may look like for you. We will really dive into the relationship between discipline and devotion. We'll look at the etymology of the two words and try to broaden our understanding, deepen our understanding of these seemingly opposing orientations to practice that are actually incredibly mutually supportive. Discipline shares the same root as disciple, and a disciple is someone who is devoted to a teacher or a spiritual path or philosophy and expresses that devotion through consistency. This is also what is highly recommended to us through the Yoga Sutra, that we engage with our sadhana, which is a word for spiritual practice, with consistency, continuity, over an extended period of time, and with reverence. Another word for reverence would be devotion. Okay, so right there in that one sutra, we have the meeting point between discipline and devotion, and really they are just constantly informing one another. What is devotion? What is it to be devoted to something? It basically greases everything that you do on behalf of that which you are a disciple of. It greases it all with love. It's all an expression of love. Devotion is love in action. If we approach our practice that way, if we approach our teaching that way, it becomes self-sustaining. We don't risk burnout. We don't become uninspired. Our love for what we are doing becomes the fuel that we run on. And at some point, every element of who we are, of how we show up in the world, of our practice, of our personal life, our professional life, you name it, everything that we do becomes an offering into that which we are devoted to. So there's that. What's this Kundalini element and why are we saving it until the final module? Well, we're not saving it until the final module, even if we don't really start calling it Kundalini until module 13. The path of Shakti sadhana is the path of awakening to Kundalini, and then Kundalini reconnecting with pure consciousness. So Kuṇḍalinī Śakti, reconnecting with pure consciousness through this ideally ongoing, long-term transformation from untapped, unknown, unconscious potential into power that we can actively engage with. Kuṇḍalinī Śakti, as we become more and more aware, becomes Prana Shakti. Prana Shakti guides us and empowers us all the way to the final destination on our journey home. So we'll look at the word again, Kundalini. We'll look at specific practices that could be described as specific to a Kundalini approach, but anytime you're working with words like chakras, nadis, anything that is oriented toward the spine, toward spiritual ascension, toward awakening, we're talking about Kuṇḍalinī Yoga, which is a tantric path. It is not the Kuṇḍalinī Yoga with a trademark that was developed, if not created, by Yogi Bhajan. This is much older. This is ancient, and we're going to do our best to tap into it. And that will likely be the thing that makes the ground drop out beneath us and help us to recognize, okay, I've come a long way, and yet the journey has very clearly just begun. Okay, there you have it. Module 13. At the conclusion of Module 13, in order to tie up this training practice experience, you'll be given an opportunity to do a final written culmination, reflection on the various modules in the training, your experience with them, what they've taught you, as well as share a final offering that is indicative of what you have learned, of the growth that you have enjoyed over the 16 months together. And that is this sort of final stage of practice that is more spiritually oriented and more directly geared toward that ascent of Kuṇḍalinī Śakti, reuniting with Shiva, power, reuniting with consciousness, and maximizing our experience of our humanity. Okay. If you have any questions about any of these modules, please don't hesitate to reach out. They are ever developing. The training is complete, and yet that always just feels like an invitation to me to keep learning and growing and modifying and adding and subtracting. So you will get the freshest version of my understanding and experience with each of these modules. Nothing will be old, recycled, worn out. It will all be sparkly and new because I don't know how to do it any other way. All right. Lots of love to you. Reach out if I can be of assistance, and I hope to connect soon.